Right now, a fired Madison High School security guard will be returning to West High School. How he's responding tonight to that good news.
And Governor Evers is calling on Republicans to act on gun control because the majority of Wisconsinites support it. How GOP leaders plan to push back. Plus,
the state Supreme Court hearing arguments against Republicans' lame duck laws that weaken Attorney General Josh Kaul's power.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
Breaking news into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. The Madison School District is rescinding Marlon Anderson's termination. Anderson was fired last week from his position as a security guard at West High for telling a student not to use a racial slur that was used against him.
In a statement we received just within the last 30 minutes, Anderson will be back on payroll immediately with full benefits, and he will stay on paid leave while a transition plan is finalized to get him back on the West Campus. Jamie Perez spent some time with Marlon this afternoon and joins us with his reaction. Jamie?
Yeah, well, he's very excited to say the least, and he actually said that he feels blessed and is excited to get back to his job at West High. He just posted to Facebook saying, "I'm back." He only spent one day at the Boys and Girls Club today, and this position was offered to him as a temporary gig until he would hear back from the school. In his Facebook post, he thanked the thousands of students who came out to support him last week and to the people around the world who have been sending him messages of support. We caught up with him just a few moments ago about how he's taking all of this in.
I miss the kids. Looking forward to hitting the ground running. I'm excited. I'm so happy for the kids because they got out, they went, they fought for this, and they won. And I'm excited to walk back into the school because that's going to let them know that their voice is powerful.
And earlier today, Anderson told me that he is humbled and so blessed regardless of what happened. He said, when you love people, people tend to love you back. So I'm sure he's feeling all of that and then some right now. Now, last week, Cher tweeted at us saying that she would pay for any legal expenses should they come up. Earlier today, I was told that Anderson is going to weigh all of his options. He could decide to still file suit, or he could ask her to do something else for the kids in this community. He said he is in contact with her publicist and manager to talk up the options going forward. Also, Anderson told me that it is his son's 18th birthday today, and his son was a leader in all of these protests that happened last week, so I'm sure this is a really great birthday for his son.
This has been a roller coaster of emotions for him over the last several days, though.
Yeah, he's been very emotional, but very humbled at the same time.
All right, Jamie Perez. Jamie, thank you.
Sure.
The MMSD Education Board is meeting tonight for the first time since Anderson was fired. Now, according to the district's website, a special closed session began at 5:45. A spokesperson with the district tells us the board is not expected to discuss Anderson or the zero tolerance policy at tonight's meeting. We will have an update tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
All right, weather now, windy and cooler, more rain chances. Let's check your first alert forecast now with our chief meteorologist, Gary Canalti. Gary?
Eric, after a rainy and windy morning, we had some sunshine this afternoon, but now clouds and more cooler air is moving in from the west. You can see on visible cloud track those clouds coming in from Minnesota and Iowa after the clearing moved through this afternoon. And on Doppler track, there are some showers out to our west, even a couple of isolated thunderstorms, but I don't think we'll see any flashes of lightning here. Temperatures have dropped. We're now at 57 in Madison, already in the upper 40s near La Crosse. Dew point temperatures are low, so with the air being dry near the ground, that allows those winds that are right now in the 15 to 25 mile per hour range with gusts to around 30 to 35 miles per hour to zoom down very close to the ground. Wind advisories remain in effect until 7 p.m. west of Platteville to Lone Rock to Wisconsin Dells line. Otherwise, it'll be cloudy and windy overnight. Low temperatures dropping to the lower 40s as showers develop after midnight. And we'll see shower chances through the day on Tuesday with a cooler high temperature at 48. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Governor Tony Evers' calls for a special session are being met with opposition from Republican leaders.
The GOP saying it refuses to pass gun control measures that attack Second Amendment rights. Rose Schmidt live from the state capitol now to explain what the governor's move means. Rose?
Yes, well, Governor Evers' move today will force state lawmakers to meet here at the state capitol in just over 2 weeks. But Republican leaders say they won't give in to liberal rhetoric that they say will take guns away from law-abiding citizens.
Surrounded by gun control activists and Democratic lawmakers, Governor Tony Evers signed an executive order calling a special session for state lawmakers to take action on gun control bills.
We need an up or down vote. We need to have these legislators behind me have the opportunity to vote yes, we do need this.
Evers is asking the Republican-controlled state legislature to act on 2 gun control bills, one requiring universal background checks on gun purchases, the other a red flag law, 2 proposals that Republican leaders don't support.
Even if they don't agree with the policy, the politics are this: they'll start losing positions in the legislature. This is an important issue of the state of Wisconsin.
The move won't force Republicans to debate or vote on the gun reform bills, just convene for the session on November 7th. But GOP leaders say they will not take up the bills, calling them attacks on their Second Amendment right to bear arms. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald saying in a statement, the Senate will not be part of a drawn-out strategy to infringe on constitutional rights. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos says, we will not entertain proposals that infringe on our constitutional rights. Evers threatened serial special sessions if Republicans refuse to take action.
If they just blow it off, well, we can have another special session.
But Vos says a special session call won't change where he and Assembly Republicans stand on this issue.
A Marquette Law School poll last month showed 80% of people support universal background checks and 81% of gun owners support a red flag law.
Rose Schmidt live at the state capitol. Rose, thank you. The Rock County Human Services Crisis Intervention Unit will update policies after a Milton teen's death by suicide. The Janesville Gazette reports the county's plan of correction was accepted by the state last week. This comes after an investigation found deficiencies in how Rock County officials handled Cole Fuller's case before his death back in April. News 3 Now has profiled Cole's story and his father Jeff's push for change. Crisis staff will be retrained to ensure patients have timely access to care, to make sure patients who move to Rock County go through the same processes as current residents, and to adhere to best practices when it comes to risk assessment and response.
The trial is underway for a man accused of stabbing a Janesville woman more than 30 times in December of 2017. 22-year-old Julian Collazo has been charged with first-degree intentional homicide in the death of Christine Scatia Lubeck. He rejected a plea deal that would have reduced his charges down to first-degree reckless homicide and armed robbery. The Janesville Gazette reports Collazo's attorney will try to prove someone else is responsible for the stabbing, Nicole Kazar. He faces life in prison if convicted. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has a decision to make after hearing arguments today in the last lawsuit challenging the laws passed during a lame duck session.
Those laws weakened the powers of Governor Tony Evers and Attorney General Josh Kaul before they took office. Our Amanda Quintana live now at the state capitol with more details. Amanda?
Yes, this is the last of 4 lawsuits, 2 state and 2 federal, against those lame duck laws that were passed by the Republican-controlled legislature back in December. Now, this lawsuit is being brought forward by a labor union, arguing that the laws are unconstitutional because lawmakers violated the separation of powers by limiting the authority of the executive branch. The laws passed during the lame duck session include prohibiting the governor from ordering the attorney general to withdraw from lawsuits, giving lawmakers the ability to intervene in lawsuits using their own attorneys instead of the Department of Justice's, and forcing the AG to get approval from the legislature before settling lawsuits.
Let's say we looked at a case and we're like, we really want a settlement in that case. We really want to give away this case. We would have absolutely no way to force the Attorney General to come to us with a settlement. The Attorney General could litigate the case to the end. So he has that power. It is a co-equal seat at the table.
Had the legislature given itself a right to be heard and it acted independently but didn't substantially interfere with or impose a burden on the executive branch to litigate, that would be one thing, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a provision that allows the legislature to effectively affect the way that the executive branch is exercising its authority.
The Republican-controlled legislature's attorney says lawmakers want a seat at the table. He also argued the Attorney General is more of an administrative role, not in the executive branch, but Attorney General Josh Kaul and Governor Evers' attorney say that is not true. The Supreme Court did have a closed session afterwards, and we'll let you know when we do hear a decision, but that could come at any time.
Tonight, Madison's City Finance Committee will be in budget talks. One alder we spoke with says he thinks the wheel tax in Madison will pass. If the proposed $40 fee does not go through, they might have to make funding cuts elsewhere. The committee is also looking at additional funding for police benefits and ambulance and snow and ice removal, and we'll have an update tonight on News 3 Now at 10. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett campaigning for his city to now be selected as the host for next year's G7 summit. It comes after facing bipartisan backlash. The president reversed course, decided not to host the event at his Doral, Florida resort. Mayor Barrett submitted a letter to the president last night asking him to consider Milwaukee as an option, highlighting its economy and diversity. The G7 summit is scheduled to take place on June 12, 2020. That's a month before the Democratic National Convention, also in Milwaukee. Still ahead at 6, we'll take a look at plans for the new Youth Arts Center in downtown Madison.
And Madison College is hosting a first-of-its-kind virtual reality experience, how it's helping students learn outside of the classroom.
Construction is officially starting on a new 65,000 square foot youth arts center. It'll be located on East Mifflin and Ingersoll Streets across from Lapham Elementary School. The space will allow young people to engage in music, theater, dance, and much more. There will be 12 rehearsal studios, 2 fully equipped dance studios, 2 theaters, and a community room. Children's Theater of Madison and Madison Youth Choirs will be anchored in the Performing Arts Center.
They have been working with the neighborhood and the city for the last year and a half in an attempt to help form this, and we're very excited because it's going to have many other youth arts organizations in it.
20 other nonprofits who serve youth in the arts have expressed interest in using that space as well. The Youth Arts Center is expected to open in spring of 2021.
If you're planning to be in the downtown area this weekend, a heads up that Freak Fest is happening. Parts of West Gilman Street and West Mifflin Street will close at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon so crews can put up those stages. At 5 p.m. on Saturday, State, Lake, Johnson, and Dayton Streets will close for the event. Now, if you want to get to State Street, you will need a Freak Fest ticket Saturday beginning at 7 p.m. And we have more information on channel3000.com. Students at Madison College are exploring a new type of learning in the first-of-its-kind virtual reality classroom.
For this semester's Digital Innovations class, students are plugging into what their teacher, Steve Knoll, says may be the future of classrooms. With a headset and 2 hand controllers, students meet in a virtual room. They can do so from anywhere in the world where there's Wi-Fi. So for students who are sick or physically unable to make it to class, Knoll says it's a way for them to still participate.
The idea that kind of taking something that they're already comfortable with and then turn it into an educational tool, that's kind of what a technical college should be doing.
Students are actively giving feedback on their experience. Knoll says it allows students to put themselves into any sort of interactive experience, like experiencing a historical time period or even performing surgery.
UW-Madison is paying tribute to a former professor described as a legend in the history of the university. Emeritus Professor Harold Shoib taught a popular African storytelling class. He served as a jet mechanic during the Korean War, then spent 4 years lugging 50 pounds worth of recording and video equipment along Africa's eastern coast to record the poetry, tales, and myths of various South African peoples. He went on to share those stories with more than 18,000 students over the course of his 43-year career at UW. Shoib died last week. He was 88 years old.
And coming up next, the cooler, rainy weather continues. Showers will return overnight and tomorrow.
Gary will have your first alert forecast next. If you've been to a Badger football game this fall, you've seen the new man behind the podium directing the Badger band. Corey Pompey is settling into his new life in Madison and his new role as the director of the UW Marching Band. He's directed 5 home football games in a row and made a big impression when he added some Beyonce and Lady Gaga to the halftime show. Tonight on News 3 Now at 10, Susan Simon sits down with Pompey to see how he feels about his first season as a Badger.
Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us now on this windy start to the work week. And if you were out enjoying Sunday, boy, this hit you like a ton of bricks this morning. The wind and the rain.
Yeah, and by the end of next week, we could be looking at mixtures of rain and snow showers before Halloween. So
it happens quickly.
Yeah, it does. It goes in a heartbeat, it seems. But as we take a look at visible cloud track, look at how fast the clouds are moving. That just gives you an idea how strong the winds are. The showers that we had this morning head off into Michigan. We had a little bit of a break during the afternoon hours where we had some sunshine. That allowed temperatures to jump up into the 60s. But then a cold front is coming in from the west, and the clouds are filling in right back behind the front. High wind warnings in effect for parts of southwestern Minnesota and northwestern Iowa. Wind advisories are in effect until 7 p.m. west of Dubuque, Iowa, and Platteville to Richland Center and Wisconsin Dells line. These are the strongest wind gusts today, 37 miles per hour Madison, but Milwaukee and Green Bay close to 50 miles per hour. And also down to the south and to the west, we're seeing some strong wind gusts in the 45 to 50 mile per hour range. There are some showers with those clouds out to the west, even a couple of flashes of lightning, but those are diminishing. The atmosphere just kind of settling down, but we'll still see some showers later on tonight. Live view from the WISC Skycam looking out toward the west. The clouds are moving back in now, and the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison also showing mostly cloudy skies where we had some sunshine about an hour ago. As we check out the almanac, we did make it up to 64, low temperature at 48, but right now we're down to 57 degrees. Looks like a few sprinkles being reported at the airport. Winds are out of the southwest at 14 miles per hour. Dew point temperatures at 45. The air fairly dry near the ground, and a lot of times that just kind of allows those strong winds aloft to get deflected down to the ground pretty easily. While it's 57 in Madison, it's 50 in Dubuque, and then temperatures drop into the 40s from much of Iowa and Minnesota. That's the colder air coming in from the west, even though the winds are going to be from the southwest, at least for tonight, before they start shifting around into a more westerly direction. The storm is wrapped up with the strong winds. These are current wind gusts close to 50 miles per hour in western Minnesota and around 40 miles per hour down near the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. But the strong winds aloft are coming in from the southwest. It's wrapping around that area of low pressure across eastern Minnesota, and it's driven a cold front now off to the east of us. So it's the cooler air that's starting to wrap around, and those temperatures dropping back into the 40s. We'll look for high temperatures to only be in the upper 40s for tomorrow. Back to the low 50s on Wednesday, and then probably see temperatures drop again for Thursday and Friday. Wind advisory in effect until 7 p.m. west of Platteville to Lone Rock to Wisconsin Dells line. Tonight, cloudy, windy, cooler, low of 43. Showers will develop most likely after midnight in most areas. Tomorrow, a cloudy, windy, and cooler day with a high of 48 and some scattered showers. Not a complete washout, but we'll see off and on shower chances. You can see the showers moving in later on tonight. Continuing through the day tomorrow with highs only in the upper 40s. Tomorrow night, those temperatures drop into the middle 30s as skies clear out, and then temperatures will be back into the lower 50s before dropping late in the day as showers move through on Wednesday. Rainfall amounts shouldn't be very much, maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch, but 7 to 10 day forecast calls for cool weather Thursday and Friday. Temperatures near normal for the weekend with dry weather, and then some showers on Tuesday mixing with snow on Wednesday, but Halloween looks dry. It's just going to be a chilly one.
The Badger football team is moving on from Champaign and focusing on Columbus. The story's coming up in sports. The Wisconsin Badger football team can't do anything about what's happened, but it can do everything about what's ahead. And what's next is a game at Ohio State Saturday. That's an 11 a.m. kickoff in Columbus. The game's on Fox. Ohio State, a 14-point favorite over Wisconsin. Of course, the Badgers are trying to move on from that shocking loss at Illinois Saturday. The Badgers came into that one as a 31-point favorite, so a lot of good that did. As bad as it felt Saturday for fans and more so for the players know it's not time for a pity party. It's time to bear down and refocus because there's a lot to play for at Ohio State Saturday.
You want to be defined as a team. You know, when you're winning, you have everybody on your side, everything is going well, but, you know, how do you really want to be defined? Do you want to be defined as a team like, hey, oh, they lost and then the season went downhill? It was like, hey, they lost, but then they got it together. They balled their fist up and, you know, fought their way through the rest of the season.
It's not week 12. This is our 8th game, so that does nothing at all.
You should go look up, you know, Wisconsin Badgers 2019 football schedule, and you'll see some more games listed there.
The Packers are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, sliced bread is really a great thing when you think about it, but the Packers are rolling 6-1 in the season after yesterday's 42-24 win over the Oakland Raiders at Lambeau Field. Aaron Rodgers had one of the greatest fantasy football days ever. Over 400 yards passing, 4 passing touchdowns, another rushing touchdown. That's almost 50 points in a lot of fantasy football leagues. And in reality, perhaps this means that the Rodgers-Matt LaFleur thing is really working out.
Yeah, we've got to be on the same page, and I think that just like anything, any relationship, it takes time to, you know, making sure that the communication's on point. And, you know, I like where we're at right now, but we got to continue to work each and every day, just like any other relationship.
Packers' next game is Sunday night at Kansas City. Today, Chiefs head coach Andy Reid said it would be a stretch for quarterback Patrick Mahomes to play against the Packers, but Reid adds, nothing's impossible with that kid. Mahomes is recovering from a dislocated kneecap. I know we're only 4 games into the season, but the Wisconsin Badger men's hockey team is up to 6th in the country in this week's USCHO.com's rankings. The Badgers are off to a 3-1 start. They jumped up 11 places after sweeping 2-time defending national champion Minnesota Duluth last weekend. Badgers host 13th-ranked Clarkson this coming weekend. The Associated Press preseason men's college basketball poll is out. The one school not on the list is Wisconsin. The Badgers didn't get a single vote in that poll. Michigan State preseason #1 for the first time ever. Kentucky 2nd, Kansas 3rd, Duke 4th, and Louisville 5th. Here's a new one. College football, Oregon at Washington. Oregon kicks off. Washington's Aaron Fuller going to catch the kick. And watch what he does. He's going to fire it across the field to his teammate, Chico McClatcher. Oh, snazzy. McClatcher wide open. He's going to roll to a 40-yard return. Oh, but there's a penalty in the marker of the play. Not for holding, not for clipping. McClatcher in his purple uniform is lying down in the purple end zone trying to hide at the start of the play. The penalty is for unsportsmanlike conduct for attempted camouflage. They put in that rule a few years ago.
So you're not allowed to do that.
If you're purple and lying in a purple end zone, it looks like there's nobody there.
Bears tried that a few years ago on a punt, but
were they nailed for attempted?
No, because the player lay down in the field, like near the sideline, so it wasn't.
Wouldn't it be better if it did in the end zone with the same color?
Well, they ran it back for a touchdown, except the Bears got a penalty for something else. So typical Bears.
That's how it goes for the Bears.
That's right.
Final check, Gary.
Kind of windy out there. A few showers out to the west. They'll be here later on tonight. Temperatures are in the upper 50s, but dropping to the 40s to the west. Those winds pretty strong, about 15 to 25 miles per hour right now.
All right, thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.